useful primitive than the default primitives that Lightwave comes with, because it normally has the box, the ball, the disc, and all these other ones down here. But I'm going to show something called a QuadSphere, or a polysphere, however you want to call it. I think the correct term is QuadSphere, I'm not really sure. But it's like a ball, but it has all 4-point polygons for sides. So you'll see here what I mean pretty soon. So here's an example of the QuadSphere, and it's just a sphere made completely of 4-point polygons, so we don't have to worry about uh, what happens when you make a normal ball like this, where you have these poles that are completely covered by tris up at the top, so 3-point polygons. These are much harder to work with, and they don't subdivide as nicely. They'll subdivide fine right now, but if we start moving these shapes around, you can see you start getting breaks and weird tears, and when you subdivide it, weird things happen. So I prefer to use this shape, especially considering it's really close to a lot of really useful shapes. So, like in this scenario, if I just move this piece down right here, it kind of becomes the jaw of a head already, and it's already really close to the shape of a head when you subdivide it again. So, it's a really, really useful shape, and good for more rounded shapes, like organic shapes, but it's also really good for the rounder parts on mechanical things, like robots or cars. It's a really good shape just all around to mess with. I kind of give an example of that real quick. Like if I grab this piece here and squash it down to here, we already have pretty much the shape of a helmet or a turtle shell or something if I just move this up here and stretch it inwards. I'm on mouse mode. I didn't even notice that. Let me change that to selection. It's a little bit better. Now when we subdivide it, you see we already have helmet or a turtle shell or something. Something that's a lot more useful. And you can use it for a lot of shapes. If we're going to do like a organic shape, like, I don't know, some sort of animal, I could make a more dense polysphere. So, make another one. And I'll do it with a higher level of subdivision. I'm going to go over all this stuff in a minute, so if this is kind of going too fast, don't worry about it. I just want to give a little bit of examples of why people would want to use these. So now I've already got this shape, and you've already got room for legs or whatever coming down here, like a really, really terrible sheep, but I mean, you can kind of see the uses of it here. It's a much more versatile shape, which is why I think it should be a default primitive, but I don't believe it is in Lightwave. Okay, so to make this shape, the first thing you have to do is make a box of any size, but for this one I'm going to do one. You know, this is the default sizes. So 1 tab, 1 tab, 1. And now that we have this box, you need to subdivide it by pressing tab defaultly, or whatever you mapped it to. And that'll subdivide the sphere. And press Control D to freeze the subdivision. And that allows you to edit the polygons on the subdivision. So, for an example, if it's still subdivided, I'm still messing with the normal sides of the cube. But once I freeze it, it allows me to edit the subdivided version of the polygons. So, and that's a really useful tool anyways to know. It's really helpful for making shapes like this and kind of bringing down subdivisions to a level that you can actually work with. So to control the density of the polysphere, like how many sides it's going to end up having, before you subdivide the square, change your amount of subpatch levels, and you can do this either in Catmull Clark or subdivision. I'm doing subpatch right now, it doesn't really matter. Catmull Clark is a little different, but you end up with basically the same shape. So if we set it to 2, I'll get 4 sides, or 4, not 4 sides, but 4 on each side. Like this, we'll have 4 quads on each side. If I set it to 3, we'll get 9, and I can't do math this quickly, we'll get a much higher number if we do 4. So, you see here, it's a very useful shape. With subpatch though, you're going to start getting a little bit more squarish each time you do it, but that's fine. It's still really useful. And Catmull Clark will be a little bit different. But once again, to bring up this menu, you press O, and you can change your subpatch divisions in Catmull Clark here. And once you subdivide it, freeze it again. So that's pretty much all there is to the shape. I don't really know exactly how much more detail I can go into in it. I'm probably going to do some other videos over it because it's just such a widely used shape for me anyways. I mean, I use it for pretty much everything. If I want to start a robot's head, I start with this shape. If I want to do shoulders, I start with it, or arms, or pretty much anything. So hopefully this will help some people. If you have any questions over it, feel free to ask me in class or in the comment section or whatever you guys want to do. So I guess I'll see you guys next time.